Hello and welcome to another episode of Unfit and Unharm podcast. I'm Unfit and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Unharm. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Pretty busy. Kind of the reason why well, it is technically
We
a
skipped a
thing.
week. Yeah,
Yeah,
we skipped a week.
skipped a
We
week in
have
recording. We also kind of skipped a week by uploading, if you have noticed that during the time of episode 3. So if you're followed that, that's the reason, basically. Not really a big deal thing, but we kind of sometimes have personal life things. Let's just say that.
Without getting into too much detail, the both of us have just been very busy with things.
Yes.
For example, this is something that we actually can share. A very close friend of
And
ours
that
got
is?
married.
Oh, a friend of ours, yeah.
Yeah, a close friend of ours got married last week, and we were busy with preparing for his wedding and
Yeah.
stuff.
That's one of the
So-
reasons, of course.
There are many other reasons, but we just
Yep.
wanted to share a little bit. So, do you know what the topic is today? Unfit.
No, I don't.
So I'm gonna go a little bit into it. The topic of the day is daily and morning routines, going more into how your day-to-day flow goes. And we're gonna start by how
Okay.
things felt like when we were children and going forwards, because I think it's a very interesting topic. So,
It's a
do
very
you have
interesting
any?
concept, let's just say that.
It's a very interesting concept because in the end of the day, our life is made out of days. You know.
Yes. I think I do now.
Yeah. Good.
I think I do.
Good. So I'm gonna start and I'm gonna give an explanation, and I hope that my buddy here can, tell
Keep
you a little
up.
bit about how he felt. So when I was a kid, everybody had the same experience growing up. You wake up in the morning anywhere from 6 to 7. You're fighting with your siblings over who gets the bathroom. You go downstairs. Your parents pack for you like a meal or two. You put it in your backpack. You go to school, right? You had similar.
Not exactly, but yes. It is kind of like that, but not really. It's different. Okay.
Okay, tell me, how is it different?
I mean, sure, there was the so-called, the same experience of parents packing your food and everything. But I also kind of had a little bit of a different experience that sometimes we had to kind of do some particular things ourselves. Not really super different, but a little bit. I don't know how to explain that.
Okay, tell.
Sometimes we kind of just do things in a very certain order, basically.
Okay, so it's a little bit different. Okay, I get it. But in the end of the day, you wake up, you brush your teeth, you
Yes.
clean up your room.
At the end of the day,
Throw
it's
any
basically
stuff
the
into your
same,
back.
but yes.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, folks. That sucked. It's really did. But those were probably the happiest times of my life when it comes to sleeping. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's sleeping? What are you talking about? I don't know what that is.
We're going to fast forward a bit right now, and we're going to tell you folks right now, if you are under the age of 20, you're about to learn something about life.
You're gonna learn
You don't
today.
get to sleep. You don't get to sleep as much as you want to.
No. You don't even get to sleep at all, in a way.
You really don't. You really don't. Like last night, I slept a good 6 hours, and that was wow to me.
It's not like we don't want to sleep. It's just sometimes it's just almost impossible. Let's just say that.
Right. For example, sometimes let's say, because I'm dual citizen, I'm a dual citizen between where we're recording this, and I'm also an American. So I sometimes have to make sure that let's say I want to renew a passport or do other things. I don't know. I'm just throwing out some vague stuff. I have to make sure that I'm awake during American hours.
Okay.
And sometimes that sucks. Not to mention my sleep paralysis demons keep me up.
Oh, sleep paralysis demons are always fun. I get what you mean.
Yeah, for example, the both of us, I'm going to out ourselves again because I have this thing that I like outing ourselves. We're recording this at 9.
What did you say?
I'm about to self-report.
Okay. Tell me something I don't know.
We're recording this episode after 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Just for you folks. You know why? Because even though we want this podcast to do well and we want to do so many things, we both of us still have to go to work tomorrow morning.
Or study or do particular things of that nature. Yeah.
Do particular things of that nature, yeah. And the best time for the both of us is past 9. Like, usually, I'll be honest, I can start recording after like 6 o'clock, but Unfit here is a little bit more busy than me at the moment, and he can only start at around 9. And you know what? That's absolutely fine.
Life sucks that way, but it's also fun in other ways.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest, the best time for our routines when we actually start to feel like it felt a little bit more personalized was when we were teenagers, going between our 14 plus years old years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I was 14, I started, being able to decide if I want to stay up until 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning watching anime, which was a mistake for many, many reasons. Or playing video games, which again was
a mistake. For many, many reasons.
For many, many reasons, yes. Can you relate on that topic?
Mistakes? Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of mistakes.
I remember when I turned 14 was the first time I actually got addicted to... Oh, what was that anime? I got addicted to... Well, I did watch Inuyasha, but like I didn't care for it. I got addicted to Bleach, which was my first love, and I got addicted to...
We all know that you're
called...
the Bleach master.
Yes, I am.
Even though we have a friend that kind of just says, no, you're not.
Yeah, because it's like... Okay, I want to say something. In our friend group, I was claiming to be the Bleach masters when Bleach wasn't popular. Okay, when nobody cared about Bleach, people care again about Bleach. Suddenly they're like, no, I remember this, and I'm like, no, I continued to read the manga and stuff, even and reread it, even though like nobody cared about it. I get to say that I'm the Bleach master.
Yeah, I guess you do.
Anyways, so back to talking about this stuff. I was also getting into like Naruto. I'll admit I loved shonen trash, but I was playing so much. What games was I playing? I was playing so much video games that it just ruined my next day. Like, I would wake up the next day at around 7:30, which when you're like in high school, 7:30 is a little bit late.
Yeah, 7:30 becomes late.
Because I learned a little bit far from the city, and for me to get to school, I'd have to take
a bus.
No, 2 buses. I'd have to take...
Sounds like fun.
I had to take a bus to Grand Central, and from Grand Central, I had to take another 45-minute bus.
Sounds like great time.
Oh, it was wonderful. The reason why it took 45 minutes is because it did so many useless circles around the city until it reached the next city that I was actually learning in. It would take me around... It would take me around an hour and a half to get to school if I woke up at 7:30. But if I woke up at 6 and I made it to the bus, then it would take only like 15 to 20 minutes. Now,
okay.
You can see a bit of the difference. Like when you were in elementary school, question, did you go to school in the same area that we live in?
What do you mean? I didn't leave. I wasn't like leaving in the town that we're living at right now when I was a kid.
Did you have to take like a bus?
Oh no! I had to go down road to there. It was just at the end. I just like a little bit downwards from the street that I was in, and my God, that was one of the worst places to be in. Like, it was such a terrible school. But beside the point, it was pretty close to my home.
Yeah, no, because I remember when I was a kid, so I also had to take a bus because that...
You remember being a kid?
Yeah, it's traumatizing. It's traumatizing it's trauma that you remember, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's being a kid feels like?
No, you know when you have an itch on your back?
Yes.
that you can't reach.
Yes.
A little bit worse than that.
Oh, fun. Just kidding. I know what a kid being like is. It's a joke, folks. It's a joke. It's a joke.
You're younger than me.
Yeah, I know. By how much, I
Yeah.
don't even remember. 2, 3?
2 or 3 years, yeah. Well, 3 years. 3 years, I think.
I mean, I'm 26.
You're barely a millennial.
Barely.
I think you're in like the cutoff year.
Which is good.
Because at 97 and onwards, it's Gen Z, and nobody cares about Gen Z anymore.
What's Gen Z?
Oh, they're about to learn a hard lesson soon enough.
Oh, okay.
You know what lesson that is?
What?
That the next generation is going to start mocking them.
Of course they will.
We see it all the time.
I mean, it's kind of like a story of life that you just get mocked by the newest generation.
They'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna do it better. We're gonna be better than you."
And
you
they're
know
going to
ends
do
up
it
happening?
even worse. So, yeah.
No, not even worse. They're gonna be doing the same thing. Because you know what's so great about a wheel? It goes round and round.
And round and round. That's how life works.
Round and round she goes. Yeah. No, so like I was saying, like once you're like a bit more of an adult, I remember you could customize things a little bit better. But when I went to high school, I remember when most of the time I'd argue like 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I used to make it to the bus on time. Like I wouldn't need to take the 2 buses, but you know why?
Why?
Because I've discovered that it's actually kind of easy to sleep in the classroom. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? Like you wanted to sleep in the classroom?
No, but like if you make it to there early enough, you can bring your sweater or something and fold it into like a pillow and just sleep on the.
Oh, because you just arrived early. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just
I remember
arrive
that.
early.
Like in high school, we're just like we're over sleepy. I guess it's because your body develops still, even though you're in high school and all that stuff. It's just like you're just getting over sleepy.
Yeah, I remember people telling me, I'm not like super short, but I am on the shorter side. And I remember when I was growing up, everybody would tell me, "Oh, you shouldn't be drinking coffee."
Am I in the same height as you? Because I'm pretty short.
I'm slightly taller than you. By
I'm pretty. You're a short guy, but I'm shorter than you.
You're shorter than me by an inch. I think I'm an inch taller than you.
Just to let everybody knows, folks, I'm very, very short. Like not super short, like in a bad way, but I am short. Like I am short.
Hey! There are some great short men out there.
I know. That's mean I'm going to live longer. Anyway.
Have you ever heard of Moist Critical?
Who's that? Just kidding. Of course I know who that is.
Big fan of Moist. Big fan. Yeah, no. So like I was saying,
what we're waiting for, by the way.
So like I was saying, when I was growing up, everybody used to tell me, "Oh, caffeine that's in coffee stunts your growth," and everybody else would tell me, No. You should drink coffee because it wakes you up. And
basically decide.
Yeah, be short or be awake. Now that I'm almost 30, I can tell you I'm both. I'm barely awake and I'm still short. Yeah, no, so I just remember like coffee, I know that it's a part of most people's daily routine to like drink coffee to wake up.
For some reason. I can't stand it. I don't know why. I just can't stand coffee.
I don't care for it. I
can stand it.
I really don't. Like when I turned 18 or 19, I began a unhealthy relationship with energy drinks.
Oh, great job.
Hey, I'm not proud of it. I'm really not proud of it.
You shouldn't be proud of it.
But no, I got out of it fairly quickly. After like 2 years of addiction, I stopped drinking it.
2 years?
There are people who drink it for way longer.
Dear God. 2 years? Are you serious?
Do I look like a liar?
That sounds so much.
Well, let's put it this way. I still drink from time to time energy drinks, but it's not like daily or weekly or monthly. It's if there's something that I need to do and I need like a ton of caffeine in my system, I'll drink like energy drinks. But like other than that, nah, I'm good,
Okay. I just don't really find them that appealing, but that's just me.
Oh, they taste so wonderful. They really do.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people like to compare. A lot of people like to compare like energy drinks like Red Bull and the other variants of it that we have in our region to like things like Mountain Dew. I never cared. I drank Mountain Dew, like a fair bit of it when I was in America, and
Okay.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mountain Dew. To me, it tasted all minty and lemony, and not a good combination to me, at least. Like energy drinks tastes like if you want to know what energy drinks taste like, it tastes a little bit zingy, like lemony, with a flavor of guarana juice. Like
What's
I've
a
had
guarana
guarana juice.
juice?
It tastes guarana.
What's the guarana juice?
Guarana. It's a fruit.
Never heard of it.
It's very, very, very good. It tastes exactly, to me, it tastes exactly like a lot of the essence of energy drinks. But I don't drink this stuff. What about you? When you were growing up, when you went to high school, were you also the type to like nap in the morning until like we had class and stuff?
Not really. I was pretty timid with a lot of things, actually.
What do you mean?
I basically was pretty much a good child. I was pretty careful with many things because I was very worried about many things.
Oh God! You also hid. When I was in that age, I used to hide like so many things about me to my friends. I used to be like, yeah, sports. I'll be honest with you. I'm actually very chill with basketball. But where we are from, like games like European football or soccer is super popular, and I never cared for the game, like at all.
That's fair.
Do you like the game?
Football and all that stuff? No, and I just don't care. I didn't really care about sport generally.
Like basketball.
Basketball I was okay with, not too much, but I was okay with.
I loved playing. I don't watch games. It got to the point where I was once in a room with a bunch of like real basketball players, and people were like all over them, and I was like, why are you guys all over them? And they're like, no, this guy plays for this team and this guy plays for that team. And I was like, oh,
I see.
Like what am I supposed to do? I don't watch basketball. I'd rather play the game.
Yeah,
like,
same.
Like we used to have like this penalty like game, where you basically it was like based around basketball, but we called it City. It was like one of those, City. We basically that was a name that we called this like mini game that we played because we only had one hoop,
Okay.
But like where you basically it was like those solo hoops that you have like on the side of a building so that you have like the entire wall to like play off of, but like you can't really play a real game. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I do. We know what you're talking about.
So we had this game. It sounds like something that everybody has like a different name with like similar enough rules that you would like be able to understand what it is. But basically, you threw the basketball into the hoop. If it went in, then everybody else that was there in the line had to do it until somebody missed it. And the moment you missed it, then everybody kind of took like, okay, so all the people who hit the hoop basically took a couple of steps back, and they could like in a row take the basketball and throw it at the guy who missed it, and then the guy who missed it starts to throw again.
I think I get it.
Like, it was a bit on the evil side.
Love evil games. Evil games are sometimes hilarious, but they should be done in a nice taste. Otherwise, it's just like going to hurt somebody.
I'll be honest with you, that game would not have made it past today at all.
Probably.
But, this was done back in the day. This was like in like 2006 to 2010. Well, you can still get away with these kind of stuff. And yeah, you just became better. You became better at basketball because you just didn't want to get hit by other people.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Like I promise you, I think this is like something that you learn that like you learn from the grade above you. And if I had to guess, it's probably still going on behind the teachers' backs. And let me ask you, do you have anything like that in your school?
Something
school.
like that in my school. Well, in my school, I kind of joined things, but I also was a pretty, I don't know, I was pretty a lonely kid. There were pretty stupid things that we used to do, like especially just like, how should I say this? We did some nerd things that would like kind of sneaked into the computers room or the computers lab, I guess, and we did some weird things there.
Video games?
Yeah, video games. Maybe downloaded movies, used the internet.
Far Cry or Call of Duty? What did you play?
I mean, we didn't really have the time to actually play those. We kind of just had only breaks of like 15, sometimes 10 minutes, and we kind of just tried to use them as much as possible without getting caught. There was one time, however, that we kind of did that. I did this in elementary school, and I knew what inappropriate things for my age are in a little bit, not that much, but I knew a little bit of it because I was like at the age of 12, so I started to understand those things. So I'm not going to kind of like explain exactly what I knew because that's beside the point. But apparently, there were some kids with us that joined us that decided to watch these things while we were there. And then it's just like, oh, they caught us. And then it's like, we got away, but they kind of got stuck there. And they kind of wanted us to tell who were the people that did these particular things so they can get punished later. And I'm like, but I don't remember. No offense, but some kids are like not like looking the same to me. It just, I couldn't really see them. So, yeah, it just was so weird. It was one of those weird days that I don't really have the, like, I can't really explain
recollection.
Yeah.
You don't have the recollection of what happened past event. Like, you remember certain events, you remember they happened, but you don't remember what was the trigger for each event.
Recollection. It's more of like, I kind of just, I don't know.
Don't care?
Yeah, I didn't really care. I mean, they did their thing, and I just kind of just wanted to not pay attention to it.
I'll be honest, I think that by age 10 to 12, all the kids at those ages already know these things, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's, in one hand, it's good that you know, but I think it's too early.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's too early. I think that, like, kids are going to find out these things whenever they're going to find it out. You can say that they should want to be kids. I'll be honest, the cycle of life, at least for me, is the moment you lose your innocence, you do everything you can to get it back.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that things are so much better when you're innocent, like to a degree.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying that you should strive to be a bad boy or whatever, but like once you're like past all those stuff, you realize how things were so much better
when you were an innocent and a kid and enjoyed these kind of things. Trust me.
For starters, you got to sleep so much more.
Yes.
Like
there's so many things that are so much better when you were a kid.
So much better, yeah. No, but there's something. But you know what? I don't regret being an adult because I get to do so much fun things. I get to work at a job that I enjoy.
It either. It just there are some things that we should accept that can only be done when we're children.
Yeah, like you can't walk around and ask people to play with you games. You know?
Yeah.
Because when you're an adult, like it's creepy if you're asking people around to play with you games, you know? Like
yep.
Even though you can be as innocent and actually be innocent, it's like you don't do it. You don't go around asking people, "Hey yo, wanna play with me this game? Wanna play with me this game?" Like every person will go home, they'll do whatever they need to do at home. It just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the things that we do get to enjoy as adults that we did not get to enjoy as kids, because when you're a kid and you're going to school, recess, you know, those little breaks that you get like in the day, like to go get a drink, sit down and relax. Like when you're a kid, you want to
Mm.
just play games during
Yeah,
recess
you
and
want to do just whatever you want. You just have energy for everything.
like during the day if I get a break, if I sometimes like manage to like set up my break so I have, let's say, a good 35 to 40 minute break, let's say from 10 to 10:30. You know what I do? I take a straight nap.
Yep.
Oh, power naps are so underrated. They give you so much energy. Like if workplaces accepted that power naps actually make you a better worker, workplaces would be so much better.
I mean, in a way, yes. In a way, also not. But because people will just
Well,
use,
if they're
will
abused, if
if
they're
they're
abused,
abused, that's
yeah,
the problem.
yeah. If they're abused, yes. But like, if you get someone who's like so tired towards the end of the day that he's making mistakes, it's like the last 4 hours meant nothing. You know what I mean?
Yes, I understand what you mean.
Like, I once went to this hotel, right? And there was this obviously overworked person at the desk who was making so many mistakes. It's like if she took just a 10-minute break to nap, I feel like she would have like
I think she should have done better.
she would have done better. Yeah, but she didn't. She ended up giving me the wrong keys to the wrong room. She ended up accidentally giving me keys to like a worse room than I paid for. And I ended up having to like tell them that it's not working, and they tell me, no, 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 this is a card key. It's supposed to work for this. I'm telling them it doesn't work. I bring them over, and they realize that a lot of the card keys were just
Incorrect.
in the wrong location, and I had to wait a good 45 minutes until I got my card key, and I was like,
But why?
I told them that I expect to either be compensated for those 45 minutes or given
Yeah.
45 minutes the next day, and they ended up taking off a little bit money off of the thing because I didn't have access to my room, even though I paid full
That's
price.
pretty ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah. No, it's just I see this all the time. Like you see people in Japan like going to work every day and wishing to die because of, like Japan has one of the worst like work. I shouldn't say methods, but like you go there, you work. You're supposed to work without it, even if it's not productive. Like their motto is work, 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 and be productive. But you can't work, 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 and be productive.
It's
You
a
know?
weird model. I think I kind of heard a lot of times that like employees got abused because of these particular things.
Yes, and then in the end of the day, they're expected to go drinking with their coworkers, and I'm like, bro, if I'm done with work, I want to go home and be a weeb, you know?
Yeah, and I want to be by myself or with my family. I don't really care about people at this point.
Yeah, yeah, because like I don't want to drink in the middle of the week. In the weekends, I'll drink,
Yep.
a little bit, because another thing that I have is that like I need to be aware that at any moment I probably might need to drive for an emergency or something, you know?
Mm-hmm. I I mean, I don't
And
really get the idea of getting drunk, although I do know that there's some people who think that it's worth it, but I just can't really get that idea.
yeah, you always hear stories about these people who claim that they're better drivers when they're drunk, when that's
I'm not talking
completely
about even
BS.
drivers. I'm talking about in general people who think that like drunk will be drunk is just make them feel better. It's like no,
Yeah,
it doesn't. It doesn't really work that way. But then again, what do I know?
you always hear people going like, my blood, my alcohol blood is not even at 1%. I'm fine, and I'm like, it shouldn't be at even 0.1%.
Why would you
You
take the
know?
risk?
No, even 0.1% is like super duper high.
Yeah, you shouldn't take the risk.
Yeah, like at the weekends when I know that I'm not driving, I'll drink a little bit, but like one of the things that
Mm.
like one of the things I feel like people who think that they're super duper mature and they're not is when they're like drinking a lot during the week.
I don't know.
You always have to be ready for the fact that one, the alcohol stays in your system longer than you think.
Yes, alcohol stays in your system for a longer time.
alcohol stays in your system for like a good day, but like it stops being effective after like 5 to 6 hours. Depends on quantity, of course, but like you can make
But like
mistakes
you
due
drink,
to
like for
alcohol.
example, a glass of wine, it can stay in your system for a very long time. You might not feel it, and
Eh,
it might not affect your driving, but it stays in your system.
once the ethanol itself is gone, then it doesn't really matter, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, a lot of people just don't take a lot of these things into consideration, and then you hear about all of these car accidents, and then you hear about all of these, whoopsie doopsies, and
There are a lot of
it all
like
has to
weird things happening.
like. Have you ever seen the show House?
House?
Yeah,
I
House.
heard of it. I never like. There are a lot of shows that people tell me, "Oh, you should watch. Oh, you should see. Oh, you should." It's
I
like,
don't have the time.
yeah, I don't really have the time. I'm trying to understand. Like those. Sorry to kind of like cut you off about this, but it's like a lot of those people are like the social people that seeing all these particular things, and also say that they're seeing the same things that I do, and at the same time also say that they're completing homework and things like that when I was in high school. It's like, how the heck did you find the time to do all these particular things? How?
Oh, they had terrible grades. That's how.
Yeah, exactly. It's like how. Also, you're telling me that you're studying for whatever. I'm not going to say what it is, but like for example, university and stuff like that. It's like, no, you can't accomplish these particular things. It sounds absolutely impossible.
No, no, no. It's really impossible. No, so what I was about to say in House, Dr. House, the main character, he is addicted to what's it
Too.
called? The pills. What are the painkiller pills?
What the hell is pink
And
pills?
painkillers.
Oh, painkillers.
Yeah,
What the heck is
painkillers.
pink pills?
Stuff that makes you pink. I don't know. No, so like so something that I took to heart from what he said is like the episode that people try to tell him that he's addicted to painkillers. He says in the beginning that he's not. But towards
Okay.
the end of the episode, he says, "You know what? Yes, I'm addicted to painkillers, but so what? If it's not hindering my performance and it's not a problem, then it's not a problem." Which, to a degree, that is true. But
But it's also not really a good thing.
but the problem is most people, I'd argue, 99.999999999% for them, it actually is a problem.
It does hinder them.
It does hinder them. Like they don't see it. Another thing that when I started college back in the day, I remember hearing people say, "Sleep, friends, or grades. Pick two." And it's very, very true. You can't have
Yeah, you
everything
can't
in
all
life.
have all three. It's impossible.
You can't have all three. Like you can either have your hobbies and school, but you won't
I,
have
for
friends. You
example,
can have
right
your
now have to give up on some of my hobbies. Just to kind of like, it's not the thing that I'm saying too personal. It's like, it's in my own life right now. I have to give up on my hobbies for some particular other things. So yeah, it happens. You have to balance.
Yeah, you have to balance. I think the thing that makes a person mature is when he realizes the personal sacrifices that he has to make. Like you know how you hear a lot of people saying about kids that they're so mature. I always really hated that.
In
You
what
know
way?
that people like to say about especially girls. Oh, but she's so mature, and I'm like, that's not maturity. Like
No.
you only start realizing what maturity is when you're like 23 to 24, and you start
Yes.
realizing the sacrifices that you have to make. You have to start realizing that you can't do everything that you want. Like you have to like start accepting like a lot of things, that you're just human and not superhuman. Like until you're like in your mid 20s, nobody actually admits it, but they all think that they're superhuman. You know, I can do
Yep.
everything. I can remember everything. Like when I tell somebody, write it down in your calendar to remember at this date, this and this is going to happen. They say, no, 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 I'll remember it. And you know what ends up happening?
What ended up happening?
They forget. You know why? Because
Why?
remembering and writing it down, not the same.
Mm.
Like I feel that I can go to work I can have hobbies and I can juggle a lot of things because that I have a calendar that I work off of, and I make sure to give myself a little bit of time to, let's say, watch anime, edit videos,
Yeah.
play games, do all these things. On the other hand, you have children who like don't understand what it's like to actually think about, oh, I'm going to have to stay up until 11 or 12 o'clock doing something for somebody else.
I mean, kids just need to learn these particular things.
Yeah, and when you're 18 and you start getting a little bit of taste of freedom, when you're finishing high school and you can choose to do whatever you want, you start thinking, oh, I can now play video games until until 4 in the morning, and then
it becomes fun at the start, but then it's just an absolute torture because you were kind of like torturing your body in a way.
you're torturing your body, but you're also starting to realize that you fall asleep at 4 o'clock. You drag yourself off to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're sleeping until 11 or 12. And by the time that you're ready for the world is ready to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you start to realize, oh, I can either do things however the world does it, or I can do things my way, but I can't have it both ways. I do need to sleep. I do need to sleep from 6 to 12 hours. It is not a good idea to play one more Valorant game. I do need to add veggies to my diet. Those are the kind of things that you have to actively want to do over like, you know what? I can just go to that vending machine and buy myself like this piece of cake,
But
like
is
that's
that a good idea?
right? But is that a good idea? Exactly. And then you start viewing things very differently, and you still enjoy a fair bit of like things that you learned to love when you were a child, but they just don't remain the same when you grow up.
Yep. Things change. What can you do?
Priorities. So what about you? When you go to work, do you get breaks and stuff?
I mean, I kind of do. It's
Okay.
You're at the very least getting a half an hour break for lunch, and technically you're also getting a like 15 minutes for breakfast, and also 15 minutes before you do something. Like, you are getting breaks. For anybody who thinks that we don't, and there are a lot of people who like to complain, we do get breaks.
Oh, I get plenty of breaks. I'm my own boss, more or less, because I work from home.
I'm not.
No, but let me tell you something. Working from home is a lot of responsibility because because now as an adult, when I work from home, I work from home. I don't work full time from home. I work from home 3 to 4 days a week. And I go into the office once or twice, and. And when I work from home, I have to make sure that I'm up by 7:30. I have everything done by 8 o'clock. Everything that I want done by 8 o'clock. Done by 8 o'clock.
Okay.
By 8 o'clock, I go make myself like this big. I have this huge mug that I fill up with water and ice, and I open up my work email. I open up Microsoft Teams. I open up GitHub. I need to open up, all of these different things. And I need to check exactly what I need to do for the day. And I need to be done with at least 50% of everything that I want to do for the day by 10 to 11 o'clock. And,
Dear God. I kind of had to cut one of the things I wanted to do for my own personal life, where it comes to, studies for my college. Just like I had 3, like I wanted to do all 3, like the seminarian things or seminar things. I think that's how they pronounce in English. Seminar things that I wanted to do all 3 of them this year, and it's just like, no, it's utterly impossible. I'm just going to die if I will do that. So I decided to just, you know what? Let's just cut one of these. We'll do we'll do it next year. Like it will not be the end of the world.
Yeah, because you're not rushing anywhere. That's one of the beautiful things when you're an adult is you're really not rushing anywhere, and I really love that. Like, but going back to what I was saying, when I was in my college years, I used to have like this ritual of every morning, because I didn't have work or stuff like that, to play 1 or 2 games before I started off with classes and stuff, and or maybe an anime episode of something that I like, like a little bit of me time before I start with the day.
Mm-hmm.
And man, you just cannot do that anymore. Right?
No, you cannot, unfortunately.
And you have to make sure that you're doing XYZ by the morning. You have to make sure that you don't have anything else after work.
There's so many things that you have to do. It's just utterly impossible to keep with some of them.
Yeah, and not to mention, when you're an adult, you have to make your own meals, and you have to start thinking about what constitutes as a meal. Because let me tell you something, cup of ramen doesn't constitute as a meal.
No, it does not.
A hard-boiled egg in a salad, that's a meal.
Yeah, that's a meal.
That's a meal. Like, you have to start looking at a lot of these like nutritional things that you just as a kid did not think would be important.
As a kid, I'm going to say this: kids. A lot of people say that they're smart and everything, and maybe they are. But one thing I would say, kids are
they're dumb.
That's exactly what I'm going to say. Kids, maybe people think that they're smart and maybe they're a little bit of intelligent, but kids just not really as smart as you make them up to be. Like, they're not stupid.
No, kids can comprehend what you're trying to tell them. Kids can comprehend what you're trying to tell them, but they're not good at making personal decisions, and they're not good at how to set their time so that they do everything that they need to do. I see this all the time. Like, yes, just because a kid can comprehend what you want them to do, they do know, doesn't mean that they
will be able to do them themselves.
This is why we tell kids what to do. This is why we tell them you can't go on your computer, you can't play games until you've finished your homework. Because we know that once you get into the mood of video games and stuff, you can't get out of it. And we're not telling kids not to express themselves and stuff.
Enjoy themselves.
But before you get to like the good stuff, you have to eat the broccoli and the Brussels sprouts and the whatnot.
And you have to work very hard for your stuff. Sometimes that's how that goes.
Yeah, personal question. Do you take vitamin enhancements or not really?
Vitamin enhancements? No, I do not.
Pills.
Nope.
You start seeing people, like I have coworkers who are like in their 40s who are like, when I wake up in the morning because I don't eat enough vegetables and I have to take these vitamin pills. And I'm like,
okay, I do not. Weird.
I make sure to eat like two full raw vegetables a day.
Don't get me wrong. I'm eating my vegetables. I just don't eat vitamins, like those kind of vitamins that you're talking about. I don't really do that.
Yeah. Oh, I love it when people say, "Oh no, I'm eating corn. That's a vitamin. That's a vegetable that's healthy for you." Corn is so bad for you. You know that?
So not healthy for you. People think that corn is another kind of what is it called? Like what potatoes are? I forgot the name for that.
Oh, carbohydrate.
Yes. It's not really
a carb.
It's not
carb.
really a
carb.
Yeah, it's a carb. It's not really a vegetable.
No. You want me to tell you another thing? It's not really it's not really edible.
Nope.
You know that we don't actually process corn shells.
No,
right?
We don't do that. I mean, there are some people who say that there is part of our body that does that, but I specifically don't have my appendix anymore, so no, I cannot do that 100% now.
Oh, really? I still have mine.
I don't.
I never had to deal with all this stuff. My appendix never burst. I still have my wisdom teeth.
Oh,
and,
my appendix
everything.
bursting is one of the best experience happening in my entire life, I must tell you.
What happened? Tell me a bit more about that.
It just my appendix is a jerk. It just decided to burst.
How long ago?
When I was 14, I believe. It decided to burst. No reason. No reason, just burst.
Just burst. Well, you know that we don't really need our appendix anymore, right?
Yeah, I know. It's just so stupid that it did that. That's what I'm a little bit furiated about.
No, so going back to corn, do you know how unhealthy it is for us?
Yes, I know that corn is unhealthy.
Okay, let me explain to you just how unhealthy it is for us. Corn is
Really?
probably the number one reason for general obesity in the world.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
You want me to explain to you how?
How?
This is actually fascinating. So, back in the 40s and 50s, when there was a sugar shortage in America and all
Okay.
over, so they were looking for what product can we use to make things sweet for Coca-Cola, because people just had to have their Coca-Colas, right?
Of course
And
they
they were
do.
like, we have tons of cornfields. Let's see if we can make sweet stuff out of corn, right?
Okay.
So they make corn. They discover corn syrup, right?
Okay.
And they start adding corn syrup to all of their sugary products. Yeah. So what happened? Americans got fat, right? Fast forward to the 2000s. You know what's the number one country these days that's the number one in obesity?
The U.S.
Nope. Mexico.
Oh, Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
Really?
So I'll get to there in a second. Now, obviously, I can't correlate everything through I'm not like this scientist who did all of these researches. All I can do is tell you a couple of events and explain to you why I think corn is probably the worst thing in the world for us. So back in 2005 to 2010, around that time,
Okay.
Coca-Cola companies in Mexico that were so proud of selling Coca-Cola with sugarcane stopped selling Coca-Cola with sugarcane and started selling it with corn syrup because they just had to, cut, because corn syrup is so cheap and sugarcane is so expensive, right?
Okay.
From 2011 to 2012, within 5 to 10 years, Mexico becomes the number one obese country in the world, right after America.
Sounds lovely.
America's number two, Mexico's number one, and they're like the two countries that use primarily corn syrup for sweetening like a lot of their foods and a lot of their drinks, because it's just so cheap, and it grows there. It grows in both. And mostly in the U.S., but also I think it grows in Mexico. I think it can.
Interesting.
So,
I didn't think of that. Wow, they kind of just ruined Mexico, basically.
They really did. By the way, you can look this up. I'm actually going to look this up real quick. Number one, no, not numbered. Number one obese country. Yeah, I think that's enough. Oh, now it's Nauru, but it was a very I
What's
look
Nauru?
at it's a country apparently.
Okay.
By the way, our country is not even in the top 50, I think.
In obesity, I thought people say that like our country is like the third biggest one, but maybe they're lying.
I'll tell you where we are. According to this website of obesity.procon, we are, I'm just going to do this. Okay, we are in the top 50, but we're like towards the bottom of the top 50. Like,
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're not even in the top 40. We're not even, so.
Fascinating.
You have Nauru, which is 61% obese. The Cook Islands, 5.9. Oh my god. Okay, Mexico is now number 28. They've managed to go down to 28.9%, but that's still super high.
Yeah, that's super high. Still very high.
Okay, and the United States is now back to being number 12. But you need to understand, these things are crazy. You know what I mean?
It's still super high. It's just not really normal numbers.
No, there's not. No. Then you have countries like Kenya, which is 7.1%, and I'm like, wow, they have that many people.
I mean, they don't really have a whole lot of food, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, you know what's in the bottom?
What?
Vietnam. Vietnam is. Let's read the bottom 10, shall we? Real quick.
Okay.
Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is 181. Eritrea is
Okay.
number 182. The Republic of Korea is afterwards Ethiopia, then Japan, Nepal, Cambodia, India, Timor-Leste, Bangladesh, and Vietnam. It's crazy to me. Like, corn is super unhealthy for you.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Sounds like it.
which is funny because popcorn is super popular, and a lot of people claim that that they can eat a lot of it and they won't fill them up. And I'm like, maybe I should stay away a bit from corn, or at least.
Okay, sure. It will not fill you up. Sure, let's go with that.
Oh, you get full from popcorn.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It's not like fill me up, but you understand what I mean. It's like you don't really get filled up by like. I think what they mean by that is filled up in the way of like belly fat and all that particular thing.
Nah, but when you go to a movie and you buy popcorn, does that fill you up? It never fills you up.
Not really.
It fills you up?
Not really.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, corn is something that you need to like be super aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Because because you remember what I told you before, that our bodies doesn't process corn quite well. It
Nope,
still
it doesn't.
stays in your system, so you just get fat from it. And
Sounds
on the
like
other
it.
hand, on the flip side, you know what's actually good for you?
What?
Like eating fatty foods, because that we actually like burn like these kinds of stuff, like fatty meats and stuff like that. I'm not saying you should eat pure fat, but like
Interesting.
like eating a steak with some fat on it is a lot healthier for you than drinking like a ton of like a bottle of cola.
Really?
Oh yeah, a bottle of cola is you're basically introducing to your body corn syrup, which is bad in many cases.
Okay.
Coca-Cola is like has been linked to causing kidney stones.
Mm.
You know, it's the worst thing that's gonna happen to you if you eat a bunch of steak.
What?
You're gonna feel full for like a day.
Mm.
Every time I think about all of these things, and when I wake up every morning, I have to like plan my meals for the day based on like knowing all of these things, accumulating knowledge about foods and meals and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, sure. When I wake up every morning, I have to open up the fridge and I have to see what we have in there. What can I make meals out of it? What times?
I mean, that does make sense.
Like, what do you do?
I mean, I just don't like. I wouldn't say I don't care. Just like I just don't like eat the same thing every single day. It's not really just a different for me.
What, you eat like sandwiches and stuff, or you have
Nope.
like?
I'm not eating
yeah,
sandwiches.
Oh, thank God.
I'm not eating sandwiches.
They're just so boring, you know?
I'm eating what I like to call my meal things, which is basically in the morning I'm eating like what is it called? An egg, a tomato, and basically a little bit of what's the name of it again?
As an adult, when you wake up in the morning, quick question. What time from what time to what time are you like out of the house?
What do you mean by that?
From the moment you wake up to the moment you're like out of the house, what are the hours that you wake up and what time are you out?
It's really depend on the day, but
On average,
a lot of time I'm out of the house. Just going to say that.
by like 6:30.
Yeah, you could say that.
Like on days I have to like be in the office, I'll be out of here by like 6:30 to 7.
I'm kind of out of the house very, very quickly.
6:30 to 7, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Just there's really a whole lot of things that you should do, and
Yeah,
God,
because
there's
beating
so much
rush
things to
hour
do.
beating rush hour is worth every second of it.
Yeah, especially on Sundays. God, they're so terrible on Sundays. Rush hours and Sundays is so bad.
Yeah, because for us, Sunday is the first day of the week, and that's when we start our work week.
It's so terrible. It's so terrible. You can't move. It's so bad. I hate Sundays so much. And it's also like you kind of just need to wake up a little bit earlier because of that. It's such a terrible day. I hate it.
And you're like, you can wake up at 6 o'clock and you're still fighting people to get on. You know?
Yeah. It's terrible.
Like, and some days, if I don't need to go to work, I will
not
usually
go
just
to work.
yeah. I'd rather start working from Monday than Sunday, like going to the office. Like I go in, I need to go in every Thursday and sometimes Sunday or Monday, depends on when I'm needed. But Thursdays is fun because on Thursdays pretty much like the direction that I'm going to the direction I'm going is pretty empty. Coming back is a hassle, and that's when I beg coworkers to for a ride back. You know, like I tell them, just get me past this point. From there on, I'll take a bus. I'll be fine. You know, it's in your direction too.
It's
you
all
know.
good.
But it's like, man, go. Rush hour just sucks. It's totally
one of
worth
the
it.
worst things ever. I hate it so much.
Oh, I hate it so much too.
God, rush hour is the worst.
I think this is a good place to stop.
But it's so sour. We're ending up. We hate rush hours. God, they're so bad.
Well, what do you want me to say? Sunshine and flowers? Let me tell you something. Life sucks and rush hour sucks.
Buddy. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. Okay, let's hear. Yeah, I'm listening.
I don't know. I don't really have anything to continue this bit. I don't know.
Yeah, we're both like, we're not at the end of our day, but we're both at the end of the hour now, and I think this is a good place to stop. So we've been here. I'm Unfit. This is my coworker Unharm. Oh my god! I say don't drink.
Co-worker.
I'm Unharm. This is my co-caster Unfit.
Yeah.
What? And I make anime reviews and gameplays on games. Town of Salem. I've been doing a lot of them recently, but I also do for other games. Yes.
And he's making Town of Salem videos and anime videos on his channel, which is dragonunharm. And I kind of took a break, but hopefully I will have the time to come back to my YouTube channel of Teamndl, which is my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. And of course, we're doing some fun things here in the Unfit crew for, the podcast. Maybe you will do other things in the future. Let's just say I'm pretty busy recently.
Follow us both on our platforms, on all of our platforms, because we're going to be doing a lot of fun things, and I think they're going to be completely worth following us for. You know?
Yeah, they will.
Yeah,
I think.
I've been also recently, trying to do some other things for the podcast. I hope it all works out. So, if it does, you will all find out. If it doesn't,
that's your problem, sorry. And you will never know.
And you will never know. Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much does it. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.